Hey you lot, get out your glitter, get out your glow sticks, pop on a bucket hat because we are talking about festivals. No, sadly not Glasgow or Green Man, Boomtown. We are talking about Buddhist festivals. Before we get into it, I'm just doing a little plug for this book. Two of my favourite things combined, Buddhism, Star Wars. You think about it, Vader's attachment to his hatred totally leads him to the dark side. Yoda's clearly a Zen master. Let's do a quick breeze on through some of the major Buddhist festivals. The thing is, every time there's a full moon, there's a Buddhist festival. The full moon is that sign of enlightenment. Every month there's something to be celebrated, some key points to remember. But we'll have a look at some of the biggies. Probably one of the biggest of the festivals is Vesak or Wesak. It is celebrated at the full moon in May, and it is the celebration of Buddha's birth, his enlightenment, and his death. Now, we're not saying that all those three things happened on that exact same day. It's just to remember those three vital parts of his time on earth. Buddha was born as a human being, not a god. He reached his enlightenment through his meditation practice and through putting into practice the threefold way of wisdom, of ethics, and of concentration. He achieves his parinirvana. Parinirvana is when he dies and he achieves nirvana and no more rebirth, escape from that wheel of life. Always coming back to that key point that any living thing is going to suffer, so the only way to avoid suffering is to achieve your parinirvana. That being said, in the Mahayana tradition of Buddhism, there is a separate festival in February just focusing on Buddha's death, Parinirvana Day. Within some schools on that day, not only do you reflect on Buddha's death, you also spend some time thinking about your own. I mean, we know it's going to happen. And so it's that idea of, if this is going to happen, then am I ready for it? What can I do while I'm alive to lessen the suffering of other beings in this world? And also we remember those people who have died in the previous year. So for example, we might celebrate by having our shrine set up with the Buddha Rupa, the image of the Buddha on it, but you would also include photographs of people that you love who died in the last year and send them good blessings, think about them with love and rejoice in their lives. So along with Vesak, along with Parinirvana Day, there is also Dharma Day. And it's not particularly tricky, this one. Dharma Day celebrates the gift of the Dharma to the world. I might celebrate this by going to a Buddhist centre, going to the temple, really focusing on the studying, looking at key passages, reflecting on my journey as a Buddhist and discussing the Dharma with others. It would usually include a puja where the Dharma is shown great love and respect, and offerings, candles of flowers are made to say thank you for the gift of the Dharma. Sort of a festival, but an important time in the Buddhist calendar is Vasa. If we cast our minds back to the historical Buddha, when the monastics started to travel around, they didn't have a home, they didn't have anywhere that they would go back to because they'd given it up, and they would wander and they would teach. But if we look at the weather patterns across Southeast Asia and Southern Asia, you will get the monsoon season. And so when it came to Vasa, which is the start of the rainy season, the monks needed somewhere to go. They could not stay out in the forest. They could not be wandering when the rains came. And so the first viharas, the first meeting places for Buddhists, were so that the monks could gather together to avoid the rainy season. During Vasa, the monks would teach each other, learn from each other. Buddha really encouraged this sense of reverence for what each other had learnt. And it also includes a special day within it where the monks would get to be very open and honest about the flaws and issues that they saw in each other, a sort of respectful telling off day of giving constructive criticism, always in keeping with the 5 precepts of avoiding harm and avoiding false speech. But we can really learn from each other when people are honest with us about what we can do to improve. And then as the rains came to an end, Vasa finishes with a festival called Katina. This is where the lay Buddhists, the non-monastics, would come together to give gifts to the monks. Traditionally, it is cloth to make your new robes from, and the monks would receive the cloth and then cut their new robes, and then they'd be on their way. These days, Katina is celebrated in lots of different ways, and all sorts of gifts from, personal hygiene products, even to mobile phones, can be given to the monasteries for the monks to use. So, Vasa, the rainy season, the monks gathering together to learn from each other. As part of it, there is the Pavarana day, the telling off day, and at the end of it, there's Katina, where the lay Buddhists get to say thank you to the monks by giving them gifts. I think Buddhist festivals, like all religious festivals, are about offering reverence, offering respect to the founders, to the great teachers. But they really are also about self-reflection. At each of the festivals, one reflects on one's own progress with the Dharma. You think about your teachings, you think about your own karma, and you think about how you are doing at reducing suffering in the world. So Buddhist festivals, not really glitter and glow sticks, soz.